Hello everyone and welcome back to Mystic Tides Tarot. Today we're going to be doing a pick a card reading. And let's just get into your piles. Let's see what we have for pile 1. Trust. Trust is pile 1. Pile 2. Ether. Okay. Pile 3, mundane. Okay, so take a second to look at each oracle card and see which one calls to you, either by image or by the keyword. And timestamps will be down below as always. I'll see you in your reading. Hello, pile 1. I wanted you to take a better look at this card. Okay, there we go. That's trust. Okay. So you picked the card trust. There's something that you haven't been trusting. So that's what we're going to take off with this reading. And then this will also help you confirm if this really is a pile for you. So what have you not been trusting? Devil's play, or the devil card. You haven't been trusting yourself when it's time to partake in things that seem a bit too risky. And that's completely normal and natural. Like, if there's risk involved, we're less likely to trust ourselves, right? That's, like I said, pretty normal. Obviously, that's not everyone. So if that's not you, then you can click away. But let's find out more about this. So you're having trouble trusting yourself when you can't account for all of the elements, right? Seven of Crystals, Seven of Swords. And then the Hierophant. Yeah, so the Seven of Crystals, the Seven of Swords. I'm reading this based off of the Seven of Swords, just so you know. Seven of Swords is a card of craftiness, but depending on who's looking at it, it may not seem like the most, how should I say this? It can seem sneaky to some people. Okay, and maybe that's another reason why you're having trouble trusting, because it feels like you want to make sure that you're doing things the right way, not necessarily saying that they have to be morally right all the time, but for you in this case, it seems like they need to be. And you stepping into this area is kind of giving you the vibe that you may have to do things that are less than morally correct, and it may cross boundaries with your morals and ethics. But with the Hierophant showing up, the Hierophant is here to remind you that you have that inner authority of wisdom that recognizes when you're going to actually step into a place that doesn't align with your values and your ethics and your morals. So you really do need to learn to trust yourself, that you have that knowledge that you would require to be able to engage in play in semi-risky situations and come out on the other side completely unscathed, or at least better than how you entered it. I almost want to say, like, you're gonna be fine. Like, you're gonna be fine. So let's find out a little bit more about why it's so hard for you to trust. Let's see if we can get some more insight on that, and maybe we can get into like some deeper levels with this. Six of Crystals, another Crystals card, another Swords card, the Six of Swords. Six of Swords, right here it says confusion. And maybe you are confused, which is why you're here in the first place. But the Six of Swords is a card of leaving, but also being shepherded out of a situation and not really knowing where that's going to lead to. And this, like, it feels like there's this theme of you don't know the end result. And that's what's making you nervous or making you not trust, is because if you could somehow calculate potential end results that didn't feel so wrong, then you may convince yourself to trust yourself. And that's not what this is about, because in order for you to trust yourself, you need to release the logic finding. Like, you looking for a logical reason is what's ruining your ability to trust yourself, because trust doesn't come from logic. It comes from feeling, from the inside, from intuition, from the relationship that you have with yourself. That's where this comes from. So let's see, how can we build this trust? Why don't we look into actual solutions now? How can we build this trust? The Star. That's the card of hope. Four of Wands, structure, High Priestess. Oh, dear Lordy. This is beautiful. That's why I said that. This is not bad. This is beautiful. So how do you learn to trust? So first and foremost, your guys are telling you, please be hopeful. Please hold on to the idea that it is possible, because it totally is. And we want you to have this hope because it's going to help you shepherd yourself into this trust. Okay. The Four of Wands. This is like the true, like, nitty gritty advice now. The Four of Wands is building that structure. What is the baseline? What is the practice? What is it that you do every day that either takes you closer or further away from trusting yourself? Because that's what's going to tell you what are your daily habits that need to be modified, changed, dumped, built on. Okay. Then we have the High Priestess or the Priestess. This comes back to that trust, because the High Priestess does not mistrust herself. She has her own hidden knowledge that helps her make decisions, but she also holds other people's knowledge and secrets. So she's not just knowledgeable about her own self, her own psyche, her own subconscious, her hopes, her dreams, her spirituality. She's also knowledgeable on others. And maybe you are good at seeing it in others, but not in yourself. But let that be a precursor. Let that be a trigger to you to show how much you do know. Because if you can observe it in others, then you can observe it in yourself. And I feel like that's like the biggest like kick in the pants, because maybe you already know that and it pisses you off because you're like, well, how come I can't see it in myself if I can see it in others? It's always harder when you have to look in the mirror than when you're looking through your eyes outside. Because when you're looking in the mirror, you can't not be aware that you're looking at yourself. And by so you understand the bias. So when you think highly of yourself, you feel like that's a bias. Of course I think highly of myself because I need to in order to survive. Or you start nitpicking. Of course I'm right about these faults that I see because who else is going to know them better than me, right? So you're really good at justifying, pulling yourself apart, but that's going into like the shadow side of your skill. There is a lighter side, and I say quotation marks because I don't want anyone thinking that dark is bad and light is good. It's about not being able to see something versus being able to see something fully revealed. Okay, it's more of that. But yeah, with the advice, it's kind of like saying remain hopeful even though the journey may not feel so easy. Kind of use your ability to analyze and to break things down to see where you may be doing things on the regular that aren't for your greatest good in this specific journey. Because building that trust with yourself is a mind game, for sure. But your intuition and your inner spiritual knowing is so strong, and it's fighting to take the dominant seat because it's been kind of like sitting in the back seat and it kind of wants to move forward. But your logical mind, your ego is kind of keeping it back there because you're finding logic as to why it should stay there. Okay. So try to use your logic to remove yourself from using your logic as like the first option. I know that kind of feels like a fucking mindfuck, but that's like what I'm being told to tell you. And I feel like you understand what I'm saying. So I'm going to stop the reading right here. I hope you got something that was useful, and I'll see you in your next reading. Goodbye. Hello, pile 2. You chose the card Ether. I just want you to really get a look at her. She's beautiful. Okay. Ether. I'm hearing everywhere and nowhere all at once. So how is that possible? Okay, let's find out who this reading is for. This is going to help you see if this pile is really for you. If not, feel free to click off. Ace of Worlds, success. So you've been seeking success in a lot of different areas, and it feels like you're not making the progress that you should be making because you've been having to spread yourself into so many areas. Okay, that's the identifier. If that hooks you, then this reading is for you. Okay, let's see what else do we have to say. A message for pile 2. The Sun. The Hierophant again. Let's see, fit another card here. Yeah. Seven of Crystals again. Okay, that's already 2 cards that you match up with on pile 1. I'm going to keep going before I read. 4 of Wands, that's another one. Okay. The Fool, Child, Fortune, the Chariot, and Man of Worlds, which is also the King. No, actually, I'm sorry. That's the Knight. This is the Knight of Pentacles. The King would be the Sage of Worlds. Okay, so the Sun, this is the Yes card. This is success. The Hierophant, this is someone that has authority. It can specifically be a spiritual ruler or a spiritual person with authority or a spiritual guru, spiritual leader. I don't know why I said spiritual ruler. That sounded kind of odd. Interesting. Maybe that's something that reminds you of something. Then we have the Seven of Crystals, which is the Seven of Swords. The Seven of Swords being a card of maneuverability in terms of tact, like understanding the situation so well that no matter how sticky the situation gets, you know how to get to your goal. And this kind of makes sense because if we have the Sun, which is a yes, success, which, you know, keyword success up there, but this is like a yes, success, you're going to get what you want, followed by someone who understands the way a specific area of spirituality or their spirit works. It makes sense that you would understand, right? That you would understand secret ways that maybe not everybody understands on how to get from point A to point B. And maybe that's why you've taken on too much, because you're so smart that you see how it's possible to get those things done. And I don't want to take away from your intelligence. However, there needs to be a reevaluation of how much you're taking on. The Four of Wands is a card of structure. It's also aspirational in the way that it makes us really think about what's worth it and what's not in terms of where we put our time. Just because you can do something and you can do it very well, pile 2, doesn't mean you should, okay? The Fool Child says jump in without knowing. Take that leap of faith. And for you, it works in a really odd way because it's not about taking on more. It's about taking on less, being your leap of faith, because you don't know what that's like. With the Fortune card, you have fortune on your side, number one, okay? But also, it's time to let the wheel run its course. So you've been in a certain area of the wheel, and you've been stuck there because you've been doing the same thing you've done for a long time. And now it's time to let the wheel move along. Okay? The Chariot, another card of movement. Also I would say it's definitely also a yes card. Because this is about directed, on purpose movement. This is about you making a choice to head in a certain direction, and because you do so, being rewarded. Like the Sun's right there, so of course you're going to get rewarded. And then the Man of Worlds being the Knight of Worlds, achiever being the key word. You are a high achiever, and you're going to continue to be. It's just going to look different for you now. Because now instead of getting 10 things done at this level, maybe you're going to do 5 things, but at a much higher level. I'm not saying they're all going to move at once either. I think you already know that. You're pretty practical. But the Man of Worlds is also this reminder that it's about the long marathon type of run, not this short sprint. And in order for you to still have gas, in order for you to still be able to keep your lungs healthy and make it to the end of that marathon, is to pace yourself. So it's about pace, about reevaluating your pace. So yeah, I see a lot of big things. Like this is your entire life. It feels like this is huge for you. This is about the way that you've been running your life. Like literally, I see a runner there. This is about the way that you've been running your life, but it's also about the way you're going to continue to run your life, and about choosing. And you have the power to choose. You have the power to create so much. And this makes you want to be maybe a little overzealous with it. And this is a reminder that you're not going to miss out on life by changing the way you do things. Because you have such a beautiful spirit and energy that you're going to make damn well sure that by the end of your life, your cycle here on earth, you will be satisfied. So take more of a risk because it's going to pay off for you. It's going to allow you to really enrich your life, to really be able to fully embody and taste the notes of the wine of life. And it's going to take you to a whole different awareness and understanding. And you're going to be able to pass that down because you are some type of a leader or teacher in some kind of aspect. I don't know if you were a mom, a dad, some kind of a parent or parental figure, or a teacher like at a school or in another capacity, but you have this voice that people listen to, and you're going to be able to access a whole other level of spiritual lessons that you can pass down to others who are going to benefit beautifully from it. And I don't know, it's just amazing. I'm just like really buzzing with your energy. It feels actually not buzzing. It feels full, like a really soft hug that's warm, like the perfect type of warm, not too hot, not smothering, not bony. Like this soft, comfortable, like hug is what your energy is giving me. So yeah, you're in for such a beautiful and full life. And remember that when you feel the need to take on another thing, because instead of taking on another thing, what you need to do is to let some things run their course and just let them be, and not pick up another thing to replace its energy or to replace the space. Instead, pick something you're already in the middle of and expand that, deepen that, widen that, ferment in that. Okay, pile 2? And that is your message for this day, this week, this month, this lifetime. I don't know. I'll see you in your next reading. Goodbye. Hello, pile 3. I was going to say 2. Hello, pile 3. You chose mundane as your card. I'm really interested to see why you would choose this. So let's make this the feeler card. If this resonates, then this is the reading for you, okay? So who is this reading for? Let's get a feel. Ace of Crystals. This is someone who can find the beauty, the usefulness in damn near anything and everything. And maybe you chose this pile because you're thinking, I wonder what a tarot reading has to say about the mundane, which seems like the opposite of what they would be talking about. Maybe not. Maybe you don't think that, but that's kind of what I got. And I even thought about, before I got to this pile, like, who would pick mundane? Like, who would pick mundane as their pile? Like, it seems so not exciting, right? And it makes perfect sense that you would be someone who knows how to make it exciting. And that's why you chose this, because it was kind of like, I welcome the challenge. And maybe you want to welcome the challenge and bring it to me. And that's why this is what we're doing. But Priestess, yeah, you have the magic of the priestess within you. That's why you can see the magic in the mundane. That's why you know how to ritualize, how to alchemize, how to, I wanted to say monetize. Maybe you know how to monetize everything as well, because you're a very creative individual, and you see the usefulness and the beauty and the romanticism in everything. You know it so well that you could market it. 9 of Wands, integrity. 9 of Wands is typically a card where you see someone trying really hard to stay up because they've been overworked and they're on their last leg, but they have to keep going. And perhaps this is how you feel sometimes when you go on social media or when you talk to people in your life that are not the happiest people in the world. They're kind of doom and gloom. They don't understand how the mundane could be magical. Oh, this just came out. That was beautiful. Reward being the key word there, and then 10 of Worlds. It's kind of like, it's unfortunate that that's what you encounter, but the way that you combat that is by becoming more of who you are outwardly, so that you're leading by example in a way. Like, you're already this person that has this knowledge, but a lot of people may not know that about you, or if they do, they don't understand it. And it's kind of like you're a mystery to them. And this is an invitation for you to put a little bit more of yourself out into the world, because it's needed. And if you're a logical person, you're already thinking like, but there's already tons of channels, tons of TikTok accounts. There's tons of Instagram feeds, whatever the heck you want to call it, Instagram creators that already create this romanticizing X, Y, and Z, or creating magic from the mundane. And the thing is that they don't have your magic. You know that. Because when you see these things, you are awed by them sometimes and inspired, but at the same time, you also think about how you would have done it differently. And that's when you should be doing it. Because that's your intuition telling you, hey, guess what? This is amazing, but I have something to show them in addition to this that I know would make this even richer or make this a different type of rich. And that's your gift to the world. That's everyone's gift to the world. The way they make things different, the way that they grab something that's mundane and enchant it, imbue it, infuse it with love, with magic, with inspiration, with beauty, with depth. Whew. Oh, okay, that just flew out. And of course, it would be the card that says art. Because to you, living is a work of art. I have this sensation just entered my body of like a heavy head, but also of like sadness, because you can walk outside and look at any plant, at the sky, and almost cry of being in the presence of such beauty. And that is such a beautiful gift to have. How many people will exit this world and never understand that? You can gift that to some people sooner than they would attain it, or just in general, because they might miss it if you wouldn't deliver that to them. This kind of reminds me, not this card, but what I was saying reminds me of, I don't know if you're familiar with this YouTuber. I recommend you go and watch some of her videos. The name of the channel is Heaven Sent Honey, and she is all about aestheticism and the philosophical implications of that. And watching her talk and express the way that she does, even if you don't agree with everything she says, gives you a taste of what you could also bring into this world, because I feel like you're that type of person. And how you found my channel, I'll never know, because, I mean, maybe it was just meant to be, because I feel like I'm very small potatoes, and that type of energy is huge. You have that type of energy, is what I'm trying to say. Man of Cups, creation, creativity, synergy, Six of Worlds. This is synchronicity. Everything just feels so what is the word? I guess I could say synchronized, but that's not what I was really trying to say. There is this exercise in The Artist's Way. I don't know if you're familiar with that book. I feel like a lot of people already heard about it, but I ran through the entire 12-week course of it through the book with a friend. And there's this exercise that has you looking for synchronicities throughout. As soon as they introduce that exercise, basically she wants you to continue to look for synchronicities everywhere in your life all the time, because this also helps you find magic in the mundane. And you're probably someone who already finds synchronicities without having to try, but have you been writing them down? And the reason I say this is because we understand magic when we see it, but a lot of the times when we're in our moments of doubt, we forget about it. And maybe that'll serve you as a reminder. Maybe you want to write the last 5 synchronicities that you've witnessed and put it on the wall, so that when you're exiting your house or when you're entering a certain room, you see it and it reminds you of that, because you also need a reminder of that magic. Okay, now let's close out this reading. Do we have any further advice or messages for pile 3? Harvest, Nine of Worlds. Yeah, it's your time to collect. Okay, it's your time to collect the beauty that you've been building up within your inner rich world, because you have a very rich inner world. It's time for you to collect on that outwardly. That's why it's the World's card. That's the Pentacles. That's the tangible. Okay, so you already know you have a rich imagination. You already know what you can create, but you haven't been creating it. At least not to the level to where it's going to be needed by others. And maybe that feels like a lot of responsibility. But once you get into the flow of it, it will literally be flow. You won't feel that heaviness. 3 of crystals, creativity. We have so much creativity oozing out of this reading. It's insane. It's like maybe even that's been a point of anxiety for you in the past because you've tried to create and have been overwhelmed and inundated by your own ideas. And the only reason that happens is because maybe you're not journaling enough, maybe you're not meditating enough, but more than anything, you're not creating enough. And there's another thing. I'm going to bring up the artist way again. I'm going to heavily suggest that you run through the artist way all the way through, doing every single exercise to the best of your ability, because it's going to upgrade you. I'm telling you that right now. It upgraded me, and I know it's going to upgrade you. The artist way talks about getting rid of the bad art to get to the good art. And the only way to get rid of the bad art is by producing it. So you don't think about, oh, I can't produce this because it's not perfect. You produce so you can get the bad ones out of the way, babe. And then the beautiful ones are going to come through. And they're going to smack every time. Take advantage that in the beginning, when we're creating, we don't really have an audience. We're so small. We can afford to make those mistakes. And as we continue to perfect our craft by getting rid of those bad arts, what that sounds horrible. You know what I'm trying to say? You know, just like me right now with my reading, like my readings aren't perfect. I stumble on some of my words, and sometimes I'm in the middle of channeling a message when another one's coming through, and I don't know how to bridge it together sometimes. And that's part of me getting rid of the bad readings as I find my footing on way to the perfect, beautiful, soul-shattering readings. You know, and this is why I say it upgraded me, because, you know what, I'm going to get really vulnerable with you right now. I did the artist way because I was so sick and tired of telling myself I was going to create a tarot YouTube channel. I told myself last year in 2025, before January even started, that was going to be the year that I was going to create my tarot channel. It took me all through September to come up with a name and upload my first videos. Like, that's kind of ridiculous to me because I knew how to do readings. I had been doing readings for years on a personal level, not just on myself, but like on other people, and being paid for the readings. And I couldn't fathom reading for people, even though they weren't going to see my face, because it just was so overwhelming. And then I made up so many barriers in my own mind. And I did the artist way as a last ditch effort to kick myself in the ass to get this fucking channel out. And I was thinking, you know, that's my only goal doing this 12 weeks, because the artist way is 12 weeks. My only goal is to complete the 12 weeks and at the end create that channel. And the magic of me going through that had me creating my channel and posting my first videos before even 8 weeks through that artist way course, whatever you want to call it. That's the magic of that. So I really heavily encourage you to do it, because I am nowhere near where I was last year at this time, shaking in my boots, just thinking about what to call this channel. I am a whole other person, and my capacity is increasing every week. That's why you see me uploading more shorts now. That's why you see me uploading different types of readings and on a higher frequency, because my capacity has also increased, and because I'm dead set on getting rid of the bad readings to make room for those amazing ones. Okay, so I'm sorry I spent so much time talking about myself, but I feel like you needed to hear that story, and that was imperative for you. So I hope you really did get something out of this reading in general, and I wish you the best of luck. You definitely have more than what it takes, and I hope that you pop up on my feed eventually one day. And I don't need to know who you are, but I hope that I do see your work, because you are needed in this space. You are needed in this world. You are needed, period.